All right, 7 o'clock, call the meeting to order. Roll call. I see Commissioner Vinciguerra is here. David, see you are here. Say something. Okay, I'm here, so we have a quorum. Bob
I'm
will
here.
not be attending. Scott Murphy. Scott Mitchell, are you here? Can you say something?
What's the bigger dot?
Scott, you're on mute. I don't know if we've muted him or he's muted. There he is. Hey there.
His mic is jumping up and down, but we don't hear him.
That's our mic.
Oh, it's our mic. Okay. Scott's, yeah. He does have go across for the camera.
For the camera, yeah. So Scott, I'm going to presume you can hear us, and hopefully the audio pieces will work themselves out, or you can figure it out by the time it comes to your turn. And off we go. So first up, citizens with business before the meeting, and we are happy to meet Michael O'Connor. Good evening. Good evening, from the new executive director, Connecticut Port Authority. I'm not sure how new.
I'm on month three.
Month three.
Started the beginning of the year.
Okay.
I'm not new to the area. I retired from Millstone Power Station where I was the site vice president after 32 years. I also did a 10-year career in the United States Navy, so I've been in this area a long time. I grew up on Long Island,
Okay.
not too far away. And now as the executive director of the Port Authority, the Port Authority's mission, don't say when, it's to develop the maritime economy in the state of Connecticut. And that means to make sure that we're working in all areas. Wind is one of them. Operation at the New London State Pier. A lot of construction went on there in previous administrations, but it's in service and working now. There's some big wind projects going on out there that are continuing, in case anybody was wondering. 25 out of 65 turbines installed in the first project, and the next project's 84 turbines and follows. So that's about 3 years worth of installation work. The maritime economy includes recreational boating, commercial fishing, tourism, shipping, and anything else we do along the coast that falls into those categories. The number one issue I've heard in the state is dredging, and then I learned that you all had done some requests for dredging and didn't hear back from the Army Corps of Engineers. I know that Eric DeSalt was helping with that last year.
Right.
I saw Craig Martin this week, and he thought somebody else was taking care of that, and nobody was. So I understand, I saw the email that came out from him today. So it looks like if you fill that paperwork out, they'll come do some surveys, and you'll probably get dredged this fall.
Well,
Yeah, if I read the email, there's no budget for overnight trips. And this would be an overnight event. So he said, we'll be in touch. But one of the things we were gonna, go ahead.
Fill the paperwork out, and then we'll see who doesn't have money for what.
Exactly. And Bob wrote an email saying that our commission might be able to find some money for overnight travel if necessary.
I think he's in Boston.
Bob's in Boston.
I don't know who's got to travel from where, but if we get the details on that.
Right. Step one, fill the paperwork out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then further steps.
And then
the travel money's a holdback. I think we can do something.
dredging's an issue for Army Corps projects, federal funded projects. They always want a little non-federal share, which I would argue the federal money came from us and the
Yes.
non-federal money comes from us. So just what non-federal share are they talking about? There is always time of year issues that
Yes.
seems good to just stamp that out. But, in New Haven, we have some channel shoaling that safety of ships might be a factor. We put a depth restriction on ships coming into that port for now. And we're looking at maybe doing something sooner. But we need a lot of people to work together to figure out how we could go about doing that. Locally, businesses and municipalities have to dredge to keep harbors open and navigation safe for ship transit. But I've heard people tell me, it takes 4 to 10 years to get a permit, and the review process is lengthy and complicated, and we've done a lot of samples. So I can't go to anybody and say, hey, I heard it takes 4 to 10 years to do stuff. I would like real-time examples where people are having trouble. It's so easy to make a few phone calls and get some people together if you know who to call. So I'd like you to feed that to me wherever possible. And then there is, for our part of the state, a disallowance by New York of the use of the Eastern Long Island dump site.
Right.
Right.
So it costs more to go to the central or western sites. And I said I'd be going to New York soon to talk some more about that, and we'll see where we can get with New York. Legally, New York can say we can't dump anywhere in Long Island Sound, and that wouldn't do anybody any good, but they're pretty firm about the eastern site. The federal project in the Thames River's been dumping there. There's been no adverse effects, so maybe we'll get a different answer after that project's done. That was allowed because it's a matter of national security. And we do want to help out with those. But anytime I can get facts instead of emotion, and we can put the right people together, we've been able to make some headway, and we're just going to keep doing that.
Well, a good example right here is, you're able to identify where there was a point. We as a commission are all new to this process, because the last time it was done, we came in, it had already been sort of set up.
Sure.
So we were not involved in any of the
Permitting and funding.
I was in the audience a few times with
Well,
people who knew what they were doing.
For the Port Authority, one of the growing pains for the Port Authority was just a lack of policies and procedures for certain activities, whether they be process controls or financial controls. If you don't have guidance and you start to fall away from good practices or whatnot, because you don't have any guidance, that can get you into a place where you don't want to be. We've been in great shape since those were implemented, and then we'll put out our own guides or descriptions of what do you do when North Cove needs to be dredged, and then the people that are here after you. So
That's right.
that's what we're building on from here.
Yes. I know, and in the past dredging cycles, I think our material has tested clean because it's maintenance dredging with silt that just comes down the Connecticut River. So they've used it as cap material when they've had to dredge like New Haven Harbor or other places with contaminated material.
Yeah, so there's a beneficial use desire in any dredging project. Contaminated, then they would like to make beneficial use of it, but you have to have those things teed up.
Yep.
And it's got to, if it's part of the plan, good. If it's not part of the plan, it pushes off your dredging. So it can get a little complicated. So I want to be able to map out where all the beneficial use sites are. So we pick anything that's not contaminated and put it in the right spot. Contaminated spoils, we're talking about development of CAD cells, which are just big holes in the ocean that they took the clean stuff out. You put the dirty stuff in. But I'm also digging into the details on what is contaminated. Because thresholds, if they've been dialed down so tight that everything's contaminated, you're not allowed to put sand from this part of the ocean to that part of the ocean, then we can't move. And so we're going to take a look at what those regulations have become over time. Specifically for the Corps, I know that they put guidance in where there was no guidance. So before, we didn't have a sample requirement or a threshold to meet. And today we do, and did that land in the right spot compared to what other people do? So that's another part of the interesting equation. So the cost of businesses and municipalities and operators is all based on how long it takes to get permission. What does it take to get permission? Where can you put the spoils? And then there's a monetary component to it. The Small Harbor Improvement Program that the state runs through the Port Authority is going through the legislature right now for some enhancements. Before the Port Authority would approve projects, then bring them to the bond commission, they would approve them, and then they could get done. The state's considering changing that to bonding $5 million a year for the Port Authority. And then once I had the money, we'd be able to put our policies and procedures in place to grant funds. And a lot of $1 and $2 million projects are getting done out of the last round. But there's a lot of room to help even more people out with smaller grants that make a lot of things happen. So that's the way that we're going to set it up going forward. As soon as we see what the state legislature does, they still have about 80 days left while they're in session. nobody's counting.
Does that mean Rob has a question? Is that what that is? Thank you.
I'll just.
No, that's another guest.
Rob Soden?
No.
He's not a commissioner.
Okay, just one more thing, when I did walk around with the chair, we were over by where Dock and Dine was.
Yep.
And he said, well, this would be a good spot to do something with if it was 12 feet higher. That's 10,000 cubic yards of dredge material.
Yeah.
And we're looking for beneficial places to put stuff. So I think there's opportunities, but we just have to figure out what they are and figure out how
Where they
would do it. Yeah.
Well, that's outstanding. Thank you for coming in and sharing that with us.
Well,
So.
you're the only Harbor Commission meeting that I've been to, but you're right here in the town. I have my office space. So I could not stop by. But if you do have any questions or comments or insights for me, I'd appreciate it.
Let me ask, Rob or David, do you have questions for our guest?
Yeah, I do. I mean, we have the facility, I don't know if he's familiar with it, Mike, down at Ferry Road, and obviously we're going to be looking to do some dredging there as well. Is there any grant money available or will be available for that kind of a project? I mean, it does support the few commercial fishermen we have left.
The town has a commercial dock there. The commercial fishermen have first dibs. And we do have 3 full-time commercial, or 1 full-time and 2 part-time. Anyway, it
Correct.
needs maintenance.
Like 4 boats that
4
go out
boats.
of there.
So you heard me mention the Small Harbor Improvement Program. That was established so that a focus on deep water ports in Bridgeport, New Haven, and New London didn't take all the energy out of every other thing that happens on the coastline. We're waiting for the legislature to make a few moves here in the next couple of months, and then we are going to do the next round of Small Harbor Improvement Program grants. I think there were 16 applicants and 15 approvals last year. I would like to have more applicants, and I would like to have so many applicants that I have to say no to some people, but spread the money around and help more municipalities improve more things. They did open it up to businesses as well as municipalities. We're going to be putting the guidelines in place over what it would take for a business to be awarded money over a municipality or prioritized in with the municipalities. Because as the businesses know, if you don't help the municipality, then the property tax goes up and the business pays for that anyway. But the businesses are looking for help with extra costs associated with permitting, sampling, and disposal. They're not necessarily looking to have their dredging covered. So we'll put guidelines in place for that. So that will be available later this year. The other thing that's available is the Port Authority does have a revenue stream from the New London State Pier operations that I'll be putting guidelines in place to turn around and put back into our coastline. And potentially we'll be doing grants for municipal dredging, infrastructure, maintenance and improvements, where we can harden the coast for resiliency. And then if we want to grow the maritime economy and create more jobs, then we could at some point get involved in small interest, small business loans to help people expand their businesses and stuff like that. We're also going to support education. So there's a funding for that, and it could include commercial pier dredging. Okay.
Do you have any more specific idea of when that small harbor grant fund is gonna maybe open up?
No, the last round was decided by the board at the Port Authority in October of last year, expecting the bond commission to meet in December. They still have not met yet. We now expect them to meet in April, which has delayed some of those projects, but all that funding will go through. And then as the legislature does its work, and then the bond commission would have to meet again and give me $5 more million. And then we would have to post that out. As soon as I see where that's going, I'll start taking applications.
Okay.
Jennifer knows the person who does the town's grants.
That's good.
She's in the room as well.
I know the
Rob, I know you're attending an event. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask Michael?
No, I don't think I have any questions right now. I appreciate the time though hearing this. I kind of missed the very beginning of it. About kind of leading into North Cove and the dredging and the process there. But yeah, no, just appreciate the time. But I don't think I have any questions really.
Definitely. Thank you. All right, well, our task is very clear.
Yes,
Step one.
Step one.
and I'll
Start
be
at the Yellow Brick Road.
I'll be following that, so
Okay.
it's on my board and, you know, I just, you know, is that moving, is it not moving? And it's not moving, is somebody supposed to be doing something that they should have done? And,
Yeah.
and, you know, if
Well-
we can't work something out, if I find out about it, then we'll take some more action.
Excellent. Appreciate it. Well, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Appreciate you coming in and again, you're welcome to stay. You're also welcome to leave.
Somewhat of a drive, not terribly long, but I'll head out now and, thank you for the work you're doing here.
Thank you again.
Thanks.
Nice to meet you. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Take care.
Yes,
We have another guest.
Going out past zoning.
Said
Yeah.
Quinn, was it Quinn or something?
Quinn Framberger. Can we unmute him or can you unmute? Do you have business before the commission that you'd like to bring up?
he's able to talk if he wants to.
Okay, so you're able to unmute if you wish to. If you do not, we shall move on. Okay. All right, approval of minutes. Looking at the meeting of February 18th. Minutes were distributed ahead of time. Does anyone have any comments? Or let's have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make,
Second was David, I think.
I'll
Okay,
second, yeah.
discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor to approve the minutes, say aye.
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 So moved, so approved. Where is it? All right, clerk report.
So North Cove is now set for the season with 140 moorings. And those mailings, just went out. Everybody did get an electronic copy of the letter so that they at least have the deadlines ahead of time for getting their gear down, but the whole packages went out this week and the packages for the rest of the areas will go out later this week. Let's see, we have one more spot to fill in the kayak rack. All the parking stickers are in. That's about it.
Are you getting the spring mailing ready to send the
The North Cove one went out in the
or-
mail.
okay.
The other two are, will
Yeah,
go out
yeah, yeah.
this week sometime. Yeah,
We ended up sending little
yellow
yellow
card, yeah,
things in there.
just,
Okay.
yeah, just.
Yeah.
cool. And I don't know if you'll want to keep doing that every year or just new.
Just the new,
people.
just the
Yeah.
new.
Let's see. Budget's looking fine. We've actually got notice of another deposit from online mooring this morning. So that was like another $1,200. So that's not reflected here.
Okay.
That's about it.
So good shape. Okay. Very good. All right, let's see. North Cove, new ladders. Ooh, I think that's you.
Yep. So I did talk with Bill and he's got the timber. It's all cut and mortised, ready to put the stuff together. He just special ordered some, I told him we wanted 316 stainless fasteners because it's going to be in salt water. So he's ordered those, and as soon as those come in, he's gonna screw it together and I'll bring them down and install
Great. Is the ramp in now?
The ramp is supposed to go in the 31st, I think.
It's probably hot. Yeah.
And then, because April 1st is the first day that people can drop their moorings off.
Right, okay. New bulletin board, is that also
Yeah.
new? You've got some design
So
there.
excited to see that.
it. So I was wondering if it seemed like you liked the idea, the concept, right?
Yeah.
We used to have one there.
Yeah, what I'll say is it's a beautiful drawing. It's on green paper and graph paper. It's very official looking.
I'm an engineer, so that's it.
No, it's just it's a beautiful drawing.
But the concept was the left-hand side would be a locked cabinet for harbor management use only. And then the right-hand side would be tack board. If someone wants to sell a mooring or someone say, I'm looking for mushroom or mooring tackle, they could put a little ad there, or someone wants to sell a boat type thing. And then a little box with a lid that we could put the flyers or put the tags in.
Yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
I don't know if there's any other improvements or concepts we should have.
What will we put in our lock section?
So the mooring layout would be one,
Okay.
and then the
It'll be
notices.
Visible.
we
to-
could
Yeah.
put that,
Yeah,
the North Cove rules, or not rules, but,
yeah.
the welcome thing.
Yep. And one thing I'm passing around, I don't know if we can put it on the camera for the guys that aren't here.
And where is the camera here?
It's gotta be up there.
There it is, yeah.
I thought I did send us out sooner, but you know where the sign is at North Cove? Can you guys see this on the camera? That sign that says North Cove Mooring Access, right to the right of there, there's a, probably can't see it on the photo, but there's a tape measure on the ground showing the board could fit there to the right of the sign, to the right of the telephone pole. Right there.
And not impede harbor master parking.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm hoping that you have like the wooden box actually part of the thing, that maybe it will deter the vandals.
Smashing it. The last one was plastic, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah, we make a sturdy one out of wood.
because I've replaced the big one twice and then the little one.
It's like, I can't imagine why anyone would be angry about anything we're putting there. But, since everything's open, I guess to be a lock, to be plexiglass, we'd put stuff, the lock part with the harbor management things, but you can still see through it, not like putting stuff in there.
Right, yeah, the left-hand side would be a hinge, you can hinge it open with a lock.
Yeah, and it got paper underneath it, so it's protected.
And it'd be a little roof over the whole thing to keep papers dry, keep it all dry.
Gotcha. Do you need anything from us? Do you need to get pricing?
So, yeah, I don't have pricing yet.
Yep.
I don't know if we want to, does everyone like the concept idea? You guys on the phone? Thumbs up or?
Oh, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine.
I like
I'm
it.
fine with it, Lou.
Yep.
Lou, do you have to go through the sign committee again in the town?
Probably.
You think we need to, or something like that? It's not really a sign, it's a bulletin board, but yeah.
I'll go for it if you will.
I mean, we could maybe just run it by Chris and.
Yeah,
see
just
if
say,
we
do
can
we need
Okay.
to?
administratively do.
So once you
Yep.
have like the pricing and stuff, because they may want certain sizes. I know when we did the signs, a couple that we did down there.
Yeah, you ran
I
it by
had
her?
to- I had to make sure there was the right font and stuff, that kind of. thing.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I mean, I'm happy to do that.
Okay,
Meet up with Chris and
just
show her.
avoids having to redo it.
Mhm. And then, I don't know if you want to approve a budget tonight or wait till I get a number. And then we'd have it by next meeting.
What do you think would be under $2,000 for something like this? I would think.
I was gonna, yeah, maybe I would say 3 to just be on the safe side. If you want to make a motion to go up to 3,000, but we'll try to get it as cheaply as possible.
Yep. I'll make a motion to approve Lou to proceed with the bulletin board box as described. Going with approval past the sign people
Uh-huh.
as needed for an amount up to $3,000 of a second.
I'll second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Carries 4 unanimously. So there,
All right.
makes you move forward without having to.
Yeah.
This
This
This time of
is
year.
a slow time of year. He likes projects he can
Well-
do in his garage.
It's about to get busy.
Yeah,
Good. Thank you, Lou.
yep.
Clothesline, I don't know of anything going on down there. I will say it just looks nice. The plants are growing up over that rusty railing every year, a little bit more. I have yet to hear from, our maintenance guy. I should reach out to him. I will reach out to him. You haven't heard from him, have you?
He doesn't usually contact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Ferry Road, David, you want to talk about dredging? I know Rob wants to talk about
Rob wants to talk about that.
it.
It's still on my to-do list, but it sounded pretty positive there. That there might be some grant money opportunities here in the future, which would be great. So, yeah, I'm still, the ball is still in my court to be reaching out to the various consulting firms to get some quotes to do the sediment sampling and analysis process.
And, I just, from our discussion this evening, there may be some other funding sources as well for some of this stuff at some point. So we want to keep that in mind too.
Yeah, exactly. And it sounds like the timing's a little bit in the future, but it doesn't hurt to get the prices still now. And then we'll have a better sense of what we need.
Right.
Well, the more information we have, the better, because sometimes the window for application is small.
Right.
And so
To be ready to.
you have to be,
show.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Additional slip, David, I see you sent us all a, estimated cost.
Yes,
The
and I
next step?
have to make a correction to it. Apparently, I used the wrong estimate on the Ravens gangway. It's you have to add $1,035 to the bottom line of that estimate that I provided.
Okay.
So it's up to 23 and change. But that's and then I don't know if normally if you allow a percentage for what they consider the unknown, the unforgiving, you might want to throw a percentage in there if they start hitting cribbing down there as they're driving the piles or some other, some other problems. But basically, that's pretty much what we're looking at. The questions I have is I don't know if this is going to be necessary to go out to bid or whether this is, we can handle it without doing that.
Well, the limits are 10,000 for no bid. 20, I think it's 25 for invited bids. Do I have that right? I'm doing it from memory. I think it's,
Less than 10K, no. Yeah,
like, that's what I recall.
I remember that.
10K we can just award, less than 10K we can award, and I'm pretty certain it's under 25. As soon as it goes over 25, we need to go out for bid.
Oh, less than 25, we can get like 3 prices or something?
I think
or-
we invited bids, what I recall. We can invite people to bid on it, but we don't have to open it up to the whole process. We could probably find that out before, because we're skirting close to that. If we put on some contingency on that, David.
Yeah, that's a concern. I don't know how much of a contingency you would need, but you might need something to cover it. But that's pretty much the cost factors, and again, I guess we got to decide whether we want to proceed with it or what we want to do. I did look at that area again, and I can't tell you at low tide, the boats would definitely be sitting in mud. We need to dredge more probably than we need to dock.
We kind of talked before, you did think though, even with a boat sitting on mud, that someone would be interested in paying for the spot?
Yeah, I'm sure they would. I mean, most of the boats have trouble getting in and out of there. This particular corner, if you ever gone there in low tide, it's the worst of the worst.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the problem with it. But I mean, my feeling is you got 25 people. really what's happening is I think the availability of slips in the whole area is very limited. I mean, Safe Harbor has bought all the marinas.
Yeah, and with the South Yard being taken over now for the bridge project for the foreseeable future.
It goes, like, what do they have?
For the next 3 years.
Yeah,
Yeah. Huh. Well, what do you want to do with this guy?
David, just a quick question. In that corner where that slip is, like if I recall correctly, the bulkhead, the new bulkhead that was put in, that goes like kind of ends in that corner. Then what's on I don't know what was that?
They were just getting some
Yeah,
feedback.
you're correct.
Okay. Then what's in the like I don't know what you'd say parallel to what would run to the slip. Is that still like a armored wall of some sort?
It's a
You know what I'm saying?
masonry
Like
wall. And then
it's a masonry wall.
And I had talked to Dan, and basically, he would have to drill holes in that wall and pin the ramp to it, which he'll figure something out, some way to attach it to that wall.
Okay. I just
So
started thinking about
it could be,
for that dredge footprint, how close we can get to that wall.
yeah, that's another issue.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
David, it sounds like we've got new information, but not enough to move on right now. A couple of open questions. One is the dollar limit on what we can do. And the other is what you were saying.
well, if we know that, go ahead, David.
What I suggest is, and knowing what we have, I would suggest that we all individually go down there at low tide and take a look at that area where we're putting in the dock, so we have a good feeling as to what we're doing with it, and then we can move forward, and then we can resolve the other issues. We have some time, but if we're going to do it this year, we have to really start ordering material and stuff to get it done.
Right. So David, as I drive in and I pull in from the roadway there, is this on the immediate right? The very first, will be an additional
immediate right.
Closer.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
It's really adjacent to where the dumpster and the porta potty.
That's what I was going to say. And the couch disposal
Right
area.
Yeah.
But if we knew that Between the Bridges was getting their dredging approved and happening, that would make that a much more usable slip.
It would help. It definitely would. Well, it would help all of us on that whole side, on the south side, if they do the dredging in there.
Yeah, it would slough off.
My understanding is their original dredging permit does include dredging right up to our pilings, so it should help if they do it all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. All right. Thank you, David. Water control devices, anybody, is that Scott?
I did
That too? Okay.
I don't know. No, I did that. I called the water company. The water company doesn't have anything per se, but the girl there referred me to a couple of websites to look at, and I did look at them. And we definitely have an issue with the water this year because there's breaks in two areas. But beside that, the units that they have, what they do is if it's flowing too fast, it'll shut the water off, or you can monitor. It'll send you an alarm through your phone to shut it off. But the problem with these valves, they're used in irrigation, lawn irrigation systems, is that they require power, electricity, and they probably require internet service. So I'm going to do some more research and see if we can find something else that'll work.
we will have to face that issue eventually. Stop power and Wi-Fi. in these places.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you, David. All right. Scott, you still with us?
He dropped off a while
He did.
ago.
Okay. So no harbor master, dock master report. He didn't send anything to you.
Yep.
Correspondence. What do we got here? Timothy Delgado.
To be honest, I couldn't remember where this came from. I had it put in the handout folder.
February 27th
I think
to,
it came out of the meeting that Scott and Bob went to. This
Yeah.
was, and he was forwarding information that had come up there.
harbor master police training requirement.
Sort of related to, I think they had some discussions about, you know, all the harbor commissions are sort of grappling with some of the same issues of, you
Mhm.
know, who has what authority to do which types of enforcement. And so he sort of forwarded this in for, I think, everybody's edification on that topic.
It's informational.
That's the best I
Yeah.
can remember.
Yeah.
That's why I have that.
Informational, and then we have something, well, we have the follow-up from Corps of Engineers, Dredge Cove, and then this is the information that we kind of filled in on with Michael tonight.
Yeah.
And the only additional thing, again, just informational at this point, I think we need to fill out the form, and so I presume, Lou, that might require you and Bob. Because I'm.
Yeah, I could take a shot at it between the two of us and
It's a fillable form.
What is
I
it?
brought.
I think a PDF file kind of thing. Or is it-
Yeah, so if you're gonna be the one filling it out, I'll send it to you. I was gonna try and take a look in the old files and see if we have anything from the last time, because this is a pretty substantial application.
Yeah,
Some
Yeah,
of
it
the
is.
information they asked for.
it would have to have this stuff, right?
I mean, a lot of stuff's like you can answer. Yeah.
A lot of this won't apply. In terms of
But
metrics.
number of vessels, you know, we can get those.
Total tons of cargo coming in and out of North Cove.
Yeah. But as far as the type of vessels and stuff, I think we can pull
Yes.
that up from the,
There's like a little glossary in the back.
Right.
Tells you.
I'll go through it and answer what I can answer and identify what I can't.
And maybe get Scott to take a look.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll have to forward you that filter.
So it sounds like, that would be, it'll be a priority for us to work on getting this done based on what we were hearing this evening. It's step one, and then go from there. No Rule 11 requests. Okay. We have 3 LWRD, stands for Land and Water Resources. There you go. Okay, we have 3 of these. First one has to do with 30 Barnes Road. And all 3 of these are informational to us, I believe, do not require a signature. And 30 Barnes Road, as I do this, I think it's just rebuilding of a wall.
Yeah, or somewhere like existing structures, I guess were not permitted and they were just trying to, be able to keep it type of thing.
34 aerial.
Yeah,
view. Yeah.
I think it's a result of a notice of violation that they're unpermitted structures, so that it looks like they're just trying to retain them and not make any changes to it.
That's what I saw. Yep.
That's what I took from that too. Okay, any comments on this one from anybody? Nope, 30 Barnes Road.
No, we're good.
Second one has to do with, let's see, this is McKay 19 North Meadow Road. Site address. Okay, this one.
That I think was another retention, but it was a
Yeah.
bit unusual. It didn't have any figures with it. But it seemed
Right.
like, again, it was just a retention of the existing.
Structure
existing
dates back
structures.
to 86, 87, and is retention only.
Yep, that's what I got.
Yeah.
Trying to keep what they have.
We'll get deeper in the future. Any comments on 19 North Meadow Road from anybody? And forget informational. And the third one, 310 Watrous Point Road. It's a dock modification project.
Yeah, that one looked like it added a new or a different size floating dock and then a boat lift and a personal watercraft lift.
Yeah. Yeah. Any comments from anybody on this one? Water code.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going any further into the channel or anything like
No.
that. It's just adding boat lifts and ramps.
Changing it around a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Anyone have any additional comments on 310 Watrous Point Road? Okay. Hearing none, those will all go. Old business. Amtrak. River Bridge updates. So you sent around one, Jennifer,
Yep.
forwarded on. Basically, they're just doing dredging. My side. I did speak with Bob about, we've been talking about on and off again about the public access to that side. And we discussed a few times that they're going to be as they're building that access road, they're going to be coming under the bridge on the west side and building a highway basically, or
Yeah, construction access
construction
road.
access point to go all around the other side and down a fair amount into the marsh, I guess.
Right.
And Bob had an interesting idea, and I think just to alert everybody, and again, it's one of those things, if you go down and take a look, maybe we could get access on that side, because that's the Founder's Park side. I know there's a roadway that goes through all the way to Beard Lumber. That roadway is still an active town roadway that goes out towards Founder's Park on that side. That was a little known piece of information we came across about 10 or 12 years ago. And there may be a way for us to look at that access on that side and still have access to that structure. So anyway, it's just a discussion. I think Bob was on the train, he was looking at it, it was going by and, saw the construction taking place and just another idea to look at. David, do you know any history about that area at all?
Yeah, it's basically, it really runs from the Saybrook Ford garage.
Right.
It used to behind Beard Lumber in
Right.
that industrial park, and it ran out to North Cove,
Yeah.
towards the old dump. So it probably is an old easement or right of way. It probably was the old trolley tracks.
That's what I'm on a Yale Railroad.
Over
Yeah.
The old trolley tracks ran out to the point.
Yeah.
And they actually had a bridge. If you go back into the old pictures of Saybrook Ford garage, the bridge was right over the old garage going out that way.
Is that right?
River Road. Ragged Rock Road now, called Ragged Rock. Yeah, so there's some history there, and the town probably owns that right away because it might have been given up by whoever had the trolley tracks going out there.
Right.
So really, that wouldn't be a bad approach because you'd come in on the south side of the new bridge.
Yes.
Is what you're talking about. And
Yeah.
then what you got to do is get the feds to put up what they have in Old Lyme underneath it.
Right.
The one they're gonna tear down and rebuild.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I thought it was an interesting idea, just wanted to alert everybody to it, because it's kind of an interesting thing if you can look over there.
Mhm.
And nobody's approached anybody, it's just been an informal discussion, and I think something that Bob saw as he was riding the train on his way to Boston.
Well, I think it's worth pursuing if we can
Yeah.
get access on either side,
Yeah.
if any access you get is better than what we have, because we have really none there.
That's right.
So it's certainly worth looking at. Sure.
I think no further progress on ordinance change, Connecticut River dredging. Although, again, we have an opportunity tonight, maybe we can look at that. There may be some funding in that direction. Kayak subcommittee, video surveillance, update on harbor management plan. The only update I have is I keep hearing from the consultant, Jeff Stedman, and he's so actively involved in this legislation that Deep is going through with the harbor management commissions and trying to resolve the issue that he's been talking about several times. I got another 8-page update today. What it says to me is there's definitely resistance there from Deep. And so there may be more politically going on here than maybe on the surface. I think we probably he's not asking us to do anything, nor we did something last time. We sent a letter in support of them considering it. And I think that's kind of where we are. But on the other hand, while he's spending all this time doing this, he also, hasn't really helped us with our actual harbor management plan. And I will just say, for tonight, if you guys, I had asked you last time to look at the certain chapters and verse. And we don't have to do it right now, but maybe by the next meeting. Hate to kick it down again, but if there are sections that people feel like they could do something with, I think at this point we should just get going on it. I think I was going to see if I could get a OneDrive. It was on me, and I didn't do that. I will do that so that we can get a shared directory.
So the latest version that can be looking at is when it's on the website, or
On
is
the
it?
town's website, yeah. So
Okay.
what we want to do is we want to take that so that's in an editable form that we have access to, so we can all edit it.
Yep.
Different sections. So
I was starting to read it and I found a few changes and I'll just make notes of them.
yeah, if you do for now,
Such
and
such
what would
paragraphs.
be easier, still is we can track changes on there, and everybody can go in and just pick away at it, and it will say, so and so made changes. It'll alert you to where the changes are. But we can all be in it at the same time, give us the problem, right, of all of us editing at the same time. But, we could at least be working on sections and everybody could see what everybody else is doing. So I will commit to looking at our options to get that shared drive up so that we can do that. And I've been working on chapter 1, off and on, but I haven't got anything substantial to report there. Any other comments on that? Discussion of the installation of the,
Oh yeah, guide piles for the
Guide
North
piles,
Coast
yeah.
ramps.
yeah,
So we got a proposal from, what's the name of that company? Coastline Consultant. So they said no survey required because they've already got that. $2,850 to do the permit drawing and $2,975 for the permit application process. So a total of $5,825 for them to start the permit application. If we want to go forward with that.
so let's open up for discussion, thoughts. People have any thoughts on the work down there, the ramp?
No, I like the idea of doing it.
I do too.
And I think that's a pretty reasonable price to get the permit moving.
So again, Lou, what are we talking about here?
So the total of $5,825 to
To study it and
do
create.
the permitting process with Coastline Consulting.
So
So I'll make the motion
yeah, go ahead.
to start the permitting process with Coastline Consulting for amount of $5,825.
Second. Any discussion?
Just one quick question. That carries us through submittal of the application, or what does that take us through?
Yeah, 2008-50 was to put the drawing together, and 2009-75 for the process of submitting the applications. I think the application fees are separate. The town has to pay those.
Yep.
Like
I just wonder if we put a little bit of buffer on there to like address questions after the fact. I think it-
Amend-
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to amend your motion to make it 6,500? You think that's enough, Rob?
Yeah, at the very least, we'll get a sense if there are any questions or not. I mean,
Okay, so I'll amend the motion, the 6,500. Up to, not to exceed.
I think we have to go through the process. I think a second. And then discussion on the amended motion, 6,500. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Rob, did I hear you say?
yep. Aye. Sorry.
Yep.
Can I, am I able to call them and tell them to proceed, or does it have to be Bob or Jennifer? I don't know.
I think since we voted on it, we got approval. We
Yeah,
can-
I think you could.
you can
because
go
we
ahead.
have the official.
Okay, I'll just copy you guys on the email.
And if you're not here, you don't get to have your input. Just kidding. Okay. All right, payment of bills, Paul. Okay, I'll do that. We got a refund receipt from Online Mooring for 11,200 and change. The estimate from Raven, so that's not a bill, but that's the estimate for what we spoke about earlier. That's
Those
not
are at the very, very.
okay, yeah. I'll be thorough. Lighthouse Printing for printing of the all the parking permits, $410. $65 in the state of Connecticut for sales tax. And $105 to Online Moorings for application fees. Motion to pay those bills. There's a
I'll
second.
make a motion to pay the bills as described.
Anyone second? I can second. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. David, your turn.
This is a record, Paul. You're doing a record.
No, it's
here.
not. It's
I'll
not a
make
record, but it's not bad.
But yeah, it's under an hour.
No, I think it's a record. I'll make a motion to adjourn at 7:55.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, everybody.